Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Saturday, July 15th, 2023. And as we so often talk about, every single Saturday there's a mass shooting in the news like clockwork. And when you know the simple practice of coding numbers into words known as gematria, you can see through the repetitive patterns in the reported shootings that make the mainstream programming each week. So notice, 4 dead. You see that number all the time in these headlines. 4, 4, 4. And again, in the occult, 4 is the number of death. Many things have been written about 4 and death. Manly P. Hall has a great book on it. I was just watching the show White Lotus, and these same things are put right in the Hollywood movies. In White Lotus, the piano man collapses. People think he's dead. Somebody goes, "Oh my God, is he dead?" And then the other character goes, "Table for 4, please." And then the scene just ends. They just have to sneak that in there. It's just like the Gilgo Beach killer. He killed 4. So now we have 4 dead again in the 4th state, which is Georgia. And again, 4 and 4. As we know in gematria, shooting equals 44, like mass shooter, like Georgia. Like officer, like department. Like military, like soldier, like infantry, like trooper. Again, it's a number of death. 4 and the rep digit 44. So, same patterns over and over. We call Atlanta the 15 city. CNN specifies that this shooting's 29 miles outside of Atlanta in the suburb Hampton, which we'll get to. But today's date numerology is 29, so they got to tell you it's 29 miles from Atlanta, which again is the 15 city. And for those of you guys who bet sports, you want to know gematria because when 15 comes up in Atlanta, it's money in the bank nearly every single time. But here we are on the 15th of the month, and they got to get Atlanta in the headlines. And the police chief is Turner. Makes me wonder if he's Ted Turner's fat little brother. As the thumbnail says, the donut break was interrupted, and you can bet $1 million on it that's also true. Oh my God, I gotta go stand in front of the podium and blame the fictional black guy for the made-up mass shooting for the programming. I just wanted another sprinkles-covered chocolate donut. Anyway, 4 dead in the 4th state. And let's go through the rest of it. Again, if you're new here, gematria, there's 4 base ciphers. They're all based on the alphabetic order. The alphabetic order, A is 1 up to Z is 26. The alphabetic order with numerology, the reverse alphabetic order, meaning Z is 1 back to A is 26, and the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. Notice how with numerology, Georgia and shooting equal 44, again, 4 dead in the 4th state, and 37. And with regard to the 37 piece, today is 15/7, where 157 is the 37th prime number. And notice how shooting in Saturday, and this is why we have our regularly sponsored mass shooting every single Saturday, never fails, it's clockwork. But notice how shooting forwards is 107, in reverse it's 109. Forwards, Saturday is 109, in reverse it's 107. So Saturday and shooting have a lot in common. And, week after week, we're talking about the exact same numbers. I know there's some Saturdays where I don't cover this, but I could. I usually do on my website or on a quick Twitter post. But it does get boring. But then when I see the mainstream media parading around the face of a black man who's on the loose after randomly killing 4 in a suburban white neighborhood, I get a little bit more provoked to make the movie because not the movie, but the video. Because, again, this stuff's just disgusting. This is how they reinforce all the bullshit. Take away the guns. Blame the black man. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. And over and over and over with the same shit. Anyhow, also in this, the police officer's name, James Turner. Let's go through it part by part and then we'll look at the full name. Notice how James has the gematria of 33, as does Turner. Of course, Atlanta is the city on the 33rd parallel, commonly abbreviated ATL, which is another 33. But remember, police is 33, secrecy is 33, masonry is 33. Police and masonry are attached at the hip. Of course, masonry is a secret society. orders 33, federal's 33, and so on. And again, it all goes back to Kundalini and the 33 bones of the human vertebrae, where all these secrets are. But again, the authorities ruling over the people, and people been programmed. People equals 33, like person, again, like society, like nervous, as in our nervous system, the vertebrae, it's all connected. But anyway, big number here, 33, and it's constantly in these events as well. But now we got the perfect police officer, again, James and Turner. James Turner's the officer, all 33. And you put it together, James Turner. Notice the 144, 153, and 72, just like Jesuit order. Again, they created modern Freemasonry. So, again, that Jesuit Masonic alliance that controls the media and the authorities and the programming, and with it the minds of the masses. But also, they're saying this is the I forgot a 33, my fault. The suburb here is Hampton. Hampton's another 33. Hampton's got the 33 102 30. Look at police. 33 102 30. Remember, a good one of these was last year, April 12th, 2022. The 102nd day of the year, the 33 shots fired, and then it took 30 hours to get the supposedly black shooter who just happened to shoot up a subway in New York where all the cameras were out at the same time on the anniversary of the Civil War, which had a lot to do with slavery and the Underground Railroad, thus the subway shooting joke. Right after they got their black mayor in New York, who's former police. But yeah, police in Hampton, a lot in common. So the point is, we know who really did the shooting stunt that's now blamed on the black man that's got everybody in Hampton afraid and on edge. Oh my God, in our community, on the loose. The name of the neighborhood this happened in Hampton, Georgia is Dogwood Lakes. Dogwood Lakes. You see the 193? That's the 44th prime number. You see the 58? Freemasonry and secret society equal 58 like fraternal. But it's the 50 that really stands out. Dogwood Lakes 50, like gun control 50. Big number in this nation for the record. America's 50 like Washington, the land of 50 states. Washington named after the Freemason who went with the moving of the federal government to D.C., the land of the Jesuits. Been there longer than the feds. But also Hampton, Georgia, if you write it out, it's 229, which is the 50th prime number. So it's all just so perfect. It's the perfect location for a Masonic police FF. That FF's another 33. But they're just doing their job. If you could get these guys behind the scene, they say, listen, man, it wasn't my idea. I'm just doing my job. I got to feed my family. That's what they told me to do today. If I want to be the police chief and make, the good, comfortable salary and afford all the unlimited chocolate sprinkle donuts that I do have, this is what I got to do. So, just doing my job. Everybody's just doing their job. In America, you're born, you get a number stamped on you when you're 5, 6 years old. You go into slave school for 13 years to pledge to the 13 stripes and learn about the 13 colonies and all the Freemason men. Actually, they don't tell you about any of those secret society men, but all the free men who made this free nation where you're expected to grow up. You guys, something I was thinking about? What do you do after pledging to the 13 stripes for 13 years in slave school? Then you're expected to either go get in debt and get some more slave schooling, some more slave indoctrination at the higher learning, or you're expected to start your slave job, right? So in your 14th year, time for the slave job. Isn't that interesting? Don't forget how Acts 7:6 about the 400 years of slavery, Acts is the 44th book of the Bible, thus the first black president, number 44, Barack Obama, which also equals 76, getting like slave. But, yeah, something else, isn't it? Just so perfect. So perfect how they do it. All right. So, anyhow, shout out to Chris again. I just can't stop this guy from tipping me over here, Chris. Very generous guy. Told him many a times You don't have to do that. He said he turned 30 into $236 on a 3-game parlay with Phillies, Cubs, and Blue Jays. Thanks again for the knowledge, Zach. Again, you're very welcome. You know, I'm glad some people are putting the knowledge to use. For those of you guys who are on the Patreon, that's one of the perks of the Patreon. You do get sports content every day. Some people, I think, quit the Patreon because they get sick of the sports posts. It's pretty much all I put on there, but that's because I put everything else out that I... Again, you guys, the only reason I'm really putting anything on the Patreon, the sports stuff, is if you want to use your money to gamble to make more money, you can pay $5 a month for that. For people who say they'd support the Patreon if I put more on there than sports picks, again, you guys, I put a ton of content out for free because I don't want that stuff to be behind a paywall. I want people to find these videos and receive them. And for all you guys who weren't here back in the day, I used to put all the sports content out for free. I didn't have a Patreon until the end of 2018. But anyway, shout out to Chris. Shout out to Nathan, who also chipped in $5. I do appreciate it. And shout out to Open Up Again, who is definitely still supporting the work. And yeah, I do appreciate the super consistent, generous people. And shout out to Victory on the Cash App. Victory just chipped in $5 on Cash App. I also appreciate that. So we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. Again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. And, you know, I hope the people who are on Donut Break get a chance to watch this video and can someday apologize for what they've done. You know, those are the people who could change the world. Police Chief James Turner hopped on the YouTube and said, you know what? I feel ashamed for selling out humanity and going on and just reading the script, using my position as authority to dupe the people of Georgia and the nation. We need to stop what's going on. You know, that would be just so awesome. But there's not a lot of people in the world that will do anything outside of themselves and their own interests. And that is the big problem. And I imagine you'll see probably James Turner in church tomorrow. I'm sure he's a church-going guy. Most of the biggest frauds in the world are. But, yeah, we'll leave it there for now, True Seeker. Hold on. As I'm about to sign off, Gematria32 said Kamala Harris said on live television, we need to reduce population by 2030. I gotta find that one. They gotta eliminate all the poverty. So Newsweek's all over it. So now I know it's definitely true. Okay, let's take a minute to talk about this one. Kamala Harris reduced population gaffe. Oh, it was a gaffe. Sparks anger conspiracy theories. Oh, here we go. A gaffe made by Vice President Kamala Harris in which she accidentally described a plan to reduce population has been leapt upon by conservative figures as proof of a conspiracy theory. This happened yesterday. I love that the conspiracy, the accidental conspiracy was yesterday, right? So yesterday was 14/7, like 147. Conspiracies 147. And we know that's a big number at the White House because there's 147 windows on the White House. And remember, things like U.S. President are 147 and President of the United States is 147. And let's not forget what Gerald Ford said at the Herbert Hoover Library. He foretold, telling to a young girl how we'd get the first female president, that someday there'd be an old man and he'd have a younger female vice president and he would die in office. And then we'd have our first female president. And lo and behold, again, he did that in the Herbert Hoover Library, and the exact same day that Herbert Hoover died is the same day that Kamala Harris was born. So we'll see if the prophecy of Gerald Ford will be fulfilled, but, you know. Anyway, on Friday, Harris delivered a speech at Coppin State University in Baltimore, Maryland. Oh my goodness, Baltimore again. Where she described Democrats' plans to cut greenhouse gas emissions in half by 2030 and to reach net zero emissions by 2050. So this is exactly the terminology that Bill Gates always talks about, who did say we need to reduce population, and we can do it if we do a good job with, if you don't know the rest of that sentence, watch the first 6 minutes of his 2010 TED Talk, Innovating to Zero. We can reduce population if we do a good job with blank. You'll never believe it. I'll give you a hint. He's from Seattle, home of the world's biggest needle. He also makes a lot of money on jabs. Anyhow, when we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water, Harris said. Okay, so let's go on. There is no indication that Harris was actually outlining a plan to reduce the world's population during her speech in order to combat the effects of climate change or other political goals, and instead had merely misspoken. I don't think Newsweek's doing very good research. I think they really need to comb through the facts. I remember Joe Biden advocating for putting federal dollars towards genital mutilation of teenagers. I think at the end of the day, there's only one real purpose for advocating for that, and it is depopulation. In the official White House transcript of the speech, the word population is crossed out and replaced with the word pollution, which Harris was meant to have said. Okay, plausible. The White House has been contacted for further comment. The error was seized on by several right-wing figures who suggested Harris was openly calling for a reduction in the world's population. Well, many people have, including people on the right wing, like, how about Henry Kissinger? Are you the population she wants to reduce? Congressman Thomas Massey, a Kentucky Republican, tweeted while sharing a clip of Harris' remarks. Yeah. These people are puppets on strings, and she probably read exactly what she was supposed to say. So the perfect day so they could start with the conspiracy theory stuff on 14/7. Okay. But yeah, thanks for bringing that to my attention. I'll be sure to document that one. So. Very good. All right, True Seeker. We will leave it there for now. Shout out to Frank the Truth Tank. I see him in the chat. Shout out to the Green Arrow and everybody else. And you get extra shout outs in the chat if I've seen you in person pounding pavement on the streets. But yeah, that's it for now. Thank you to everyone who's the like and the share. And until next time.